In accordance with Texas Government Code 551. We will move into discuss, consider, and possibly take action for any executive session items, including discuss, consider, and possibly take action on Senate Bill 2038 petition for release from the ETJ received from Lackland Gunter Development.
I move, see if I can get this right. I move that the Lackland Gunter Development petition to remove property from the city's ETJ be denied because Senate Bill 2038, Local Government Code, Section 42.104 and 42.105 are an unconstitutional delegation of legislative authority and conflict with Local Government Code Section 42.023, and the city does not consent to removal of the property from its ETJ.
Okay, Connie seconded. All in favor? Okay. That carries. We're on number 4. Discuss, consider, and possibly take action on Senate Bill 2038 petition for release from ETJ received by Cochrane Malibu LP.
I move Cochrane Malibu LP petition to remove property from the city's ETJ be denied because Senate Bill 2038 Local Government Code Section 42.104 and 42.105 are an unconstitutional delegation of legislative authority and conflict with Local Government Code Section 42.023, and the city does not consent to removal of property from the ETJ.
Connie seconded. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. The motion carries. We're going to move to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on Senate Bill 2038 petition for the release from the ETJ received from Wallace Scarborough Ranch LP.
I move that Wallace Scarborough Ranch LP petition to remove property from the city's ETJ be denied because Senate Bill 2038 Local Government Code Section 42.104 and 42.105 are an unconstitutional delegation of legislative authority and conflict with Local Government Code Section 42.023. The city does not consent to removal of the property from the ETJ.
Okay, Connie second. All in favor? That's unanimous. Motion carries. We move on to number 6. Discuss, consider, and possibly take action on Senate Bill 2038 petition for release from the ETJ received from Walton, Texas LP.
I move that Walton, Texas LP petition to remove property from the city's ETJ be denied because Senate Bill 2038 Local Government Code Section 42.104 and 42.105 are an unconstitutional delegation of legislative authority and conflict with Local Government Code Section 42.023. The city does not consent to removal of property from its ETJ.
Larry second. All in favor? That's unanimous. Motion carries. Discuss, consider, and possibly take action on Senate Bill 2038 petition for release from the ETJ received by Gary Z. Harris.
I move that Gary Z. Harris petition to remove property from the city's ETJ be denied because Senate Bill 2038 Local Government Code Section 42.104 and 42.105 are an unconstitutional delegation of legislative authority and conflict with Local Government Code Section 42.023. The city does not consent removal of property from the ETJ.
Okay, Larry second. All in favor? That's unanimous. Motion carries. Were we going to... Is there a motion for anything else on 2038?
Yes. I make the motion that the city challenge Bill 2038 at an amount not to exceed $5,000.
Okay, Patsy second. All in favor? That's unanimous. Motion carries. And we'll move on to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the mutual termination of the BNSF development agreement.
I had asked to talk about one of those items.
Gosh, you did. I'm so sorry, Mr. John Todd. On number 3.
Yeah.
phone up. I'm so sorry.
My name's John Todd. I spoke earlier. Can you hear me? That work any better? Okay. I don't have any.
It's not me this time.
I'll speak loud. I'm not questioning, thank you for doing what you did. My question, though, is, and Jeff and I had this conversation, why are these 6 landowners asking to have the property removed? Are they unhappy with, do they think they're...
Because they can.
Well, they can. But I think we as a city should be asking that question, because isn't our future the ETJ?
But isn't it because of this new law that came out that gives everybody the ability to get off from that ETJ? And there also are, to my knowledge, there are also lawyers that are...
My question is, have we talked to any of the 6?
I've talked to one of them, yes.
And why did they want to move out?
Well, for future expansion of their property, so that they just don't want to be part of the ETJ. They're just like they don't want to be part of the city.
So they think their life is better outside of Gunter.
Well, their lawyers told them that this was the best option for them moving forward in the development of the city for them personally. That's what they told me. They didn't have anything against the city. They were not upset about anything, but it's just the best financial move in their estimation moving forward with their family.
I just think it'd behoove us as the city to know exactly why they're wanting to move.
And some of the rest of these are developers, so...
Gary Harrison is a developer. He's a dentist. So my question is, if our future in development and expansion is ETJs, and people are going to exit, aren't we limiting our future? I mean,
Well, that's why this bill is not good.
I understand it's not good, and they're going to challenge us in court. We're going to end up spending money. But the question is, they don't see the value of staying with us. They see the value of leaving.
Exactly.
That's going to hurt us in the long run.
This is going to be for every city. So if a subdivision, for example, wants to come into the ETJ, we have some control over them, like the kind of streets that they would have, and they would have to comply with other ordinances that we have. If they're not in the ETJ, they can do whatever they want. They can have 30, 40-foot wide lots. They can have asphalt instead of concrete streets. They can do, there's a myriad of things that they can do that we would not accept. So it would be easier for them and cheaper for them to put in a neighborhood that doesn't have all of the things that we would require. So for them personally, you can see that it would be beneficial for them to not have to comply with any ordinances that we would have. That's not to say that they might not would put in a neighborhood that would be perfectly wonderful, but it gives them the option to sell to someone down the road that might want to not comply with the ordinances that we would require.
But that's also why I made the motion to spend up to $5,000 to go in with other cities to challenge this bill, because it does and will greatly affect a town such as ours.
Right, and all I'm saying is we need to rethink our value proposition and why people want to stay with us versus just arbitrarily leave, or they can develop their property the way they want. Just my point of view.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, so now we can go to number 8, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the mutual termination of the BNSF development agreement.
I would make a motion that we mutually terminate the BNSF development agreement.
The only thing I would ask you to consider is authorizing the mayor to sign that, and then subject to whatever the final terms are, approval by the mayor should be in the decision. There may be one or two words that may change, but so you include that in your motion?
Larry seconded, so all in favor? Okay, that motion carries. We are going to skip over real quick to item number 23 so that we can allow Samantha from the county to present. This is to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on a resolution to approve the Hazard Mitigation Action Plan update. She's going to give us some info.
Maybe. There we go. Okay, thank you for having me. I am Samantha Allison. I am the Assistant Emergency Management Coordinator for Grayson County. We have been working on an update of our hazard mitigation plan for about a year now. The county hired a contractor, H2O Consultants, to help us through the process of the plan, and the plan has now been approved at both the state level and is at FEMA pending local adoption approval. So what this plan does is it looks at all of the hazards that impact each individual part of the county. It covers all of Grayson County, our 16 signatory cities, so Gunter is included in that, and then also our school districts. So it's a very extensive plan, and it looks at the natural hazards that can impact that area, and then we worked with our city officials, our county officials, and our school districts to make a plan of projects that could potentially mitigate or lessen the effect of those disasters. So what this plan does is, if you guys approve it, it then opens the city of Gunter to be eligible for federal hazard mitigation funds. So the way that works is when there's a disaster that's declared federally, after that disaster moves on, usually a couple years, the federal government will then have funding available, and you would be eligible to receive that funding. That funding can then be used in any project that would mitigate against some of those hazards like hail, severe wind, ice storms, flooding, any of those type of things. So we do ask that you move to approve and adopt that resolution, and then Gunter will be available for future funding opportunities through FEMA and the federal government. I would be happy to answer questions.
I'll make that motion that we adopt this resolution.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Yes, yes.
Samantha, thank you for coming tonight, but I think it's very important that the residents of our community, as well as the mayor and council, know just what a great job the county did, how much money that was predicated to this third-party company to ensure the fact that we were accurate in developing this plan. So I'd be remiss if I didn't tell you thank you. Thank you to Sarah, obviously. Y'all are a great, great team. But I wanted our community to know that we are doing proactive means to make sure that we're addressing health and safety. So thank you.
We appreciate that, and I know I said the city was involved. We had police, city manager, we had elected officials, fire, law enforcement. It was a really large county effort, which shows, great effort on how much our community cares about keeping everybody and their property safer. So we appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to the consent agenda, routine council business. Is there anything that needs to be removed for open discussion, or do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we pass the consent agenda, A, B, C, and D.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Motion carries. Regular agenda item number 10, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on resolution to withhold consent to creation of Gunter Crossing Municipal Utility District in Grayson County.
I'll make the motion. Take action for resolution to withhold consent to creation of Gunter Crossing, but Grayson County.
Second.
Okay, Larry second, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. The motion carries. We're going to move on to public hearing. The number 11 is public comments, to hear public comments regarding rezone of 8 lots from the townhouses residential district to the 2-family residential district located on West Oak Street, Grayson, CAD ID 5850031 and 5850033. 103. I do have one speaker, and do you want to go ahead and explain this, Noah, first? And then I've got a speaker. This may actually answer his question, so I'll allow you to do that first.
This on? How about now? Okay. I did receive a request from the applicant, Fraser LLC. They are here this evening. They are requesting that this item be continued to next month's regular city council meeting. They have some things they want to work on the business side of things, and so they have made that request at this time.
Okay.
And so we would just ask to continue the public hearing to next month.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to open it up at 8:38, and then we're going to
I would like to make a motion to continue item number 11, the rezoning of 8 lots from Townhouse Residential District to a 2-family residential duplex district located on West Oak Street, Grayson County, CAD ID 5850031 and 585003103.
Okay, Larry, second. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. And it is, we are going to, so for 12, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving an ordinance to rezone 8 lots from the Townhouse District to 2-family district located on West Oak Street, Grayson, CAD 5850031 and 585003103. Obviously, we'll need to motion to
Yeah,
do the
continue
same.
that on the, yes, please.
I would like to make a motion to table until the next meeting, item number 11, ordinance to rezone 8 lots from Townhouse District TH to 2-family District TF located on West Oak Street, Grayson County, CAD 5850031 and 585003103.
Who's second? Okay, Cheryl second. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. We'll table that to the next meeting. I'm going to open public hearing, agenda item number 13 at 8:40. This is for public comments, to hear comments regarding replat of 8 lots into 3 located on West Oak, Grayson, CAD 5850031, 585003103.
And thank you, Madam Mayor. The applicant is also Fraser LLC. It's the same location property. The applicant is also requesting to continue this public hearing to the next regular city council meeting for November for the same reasons as earlier stated.
I would like to make a motion to table agenda item number 13 to hear public comments regarding replat of 8 lots into 3 lots located on West Oak Street, Grayson County, CAD 5850031 and 585003103. Until the next meeting.
Okay, Larry second. All in favor? Okay, and it is 8:41. We're leaving this open though until the next meeting. Agenda item number 14, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving a replat of 8 lots, Grayson CAD 5850031 and 585003103.
It's the same thing as well.
I'd like to make a motion to table agenda item number 14 until the next meeting regarding the replat of 8 lots into 3 located on West Oak Street, Grayson County, CAD ID 5850031 and 585003103.
Okay. Okay. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, and that will be carried to the next meeting. Item number 15, public hearing for public comments it is 8:42, open us up to your public comments regarding replat of 2 lots into 1 lot on 201 South Main Street, Grayson CAD 152001.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Mayor and Council. Noah Cullis, Director of Community and Economic Development. We're trying to get our PowerPoint working for you. This is a replat case for John Carter. The property is located at 201 West Main Street. This is the location map. The next map identifies the aerial photo. You do see there's an existing home there that has since been demolished. The applicant is proposing on combining 2 lots in this replat and so to therefore develop a wellness center in the future. There's a picture of the plat. On October 12, 2022, the Planning and Zoning Commission did meet and forwarded a recommendation of approval of this replat from Mr. John Carter. This concludes the report.
We're not there yet, we're doing public comments. So is there anyone who still wanted to speak during the public comments? Okay, seeing none, we'll close that hearing at 8:44. Now we can move to discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving the replat of 2 lots into 1, CAD ID 152001.
I move that we go ahead and approve this replat. CAD 152001.
Okay, Connie, second that. All in favor? Cheryl? Oh, what is? Thank you. Connie did. Okay, so that's unanimous. We'll move forward. That motion carries. We're going to go to number 17, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on amending the Bridges Phase 2A development agreement to remove the requirement for the 40-foot landscaping buffer. I do have a speaker on this one, Mr. John Todd, if you would like to speak before or after the presentation.
I'll just make the comment before.
Okay.
We had a great planning and zoning meeting last week. Rock was there. We thank Emily for her diligence and kind of getting Rock down. But I just want to make sure in the document here, there's nothing about what was discussed last week. There were no rock to the table renderings and elevations of what the brick wall is going to look like. He showed us diagrams of trees that may get removed. None of that is in here. I would ask that if we pass this, and I hope we do pass this, that it's just under the stipulations of the information brought to the table last week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, Noah.
Just to answer Mr. Todd's question, the applicant is going to give that same presentation that he gave to our Planning and Zoning Commission.
Thank you.
So this is the amendment to the preliminary plat for the Bridges of Phase 2A. The location of the property is located north of the Bridges subdivision. Again, there's an aerial of that area, and it does front Highway 121. Here's a copy of the amended plat, second half of that amended plat. On October 12th, the Planning and Zoning Commission forwarded a recommendation to approve that final plat for Gunter that was supposed to be changed, for the Bridges Phase 2A preliminary plat. And I'm going to turn the time over to the applicant to give that presentation, which we also have.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I guess this one's a multi-faceted section. I got 3 line items on here, so I hope we cover everything on here, and if possible, I don't know if it's policy or not, but I'm gonna ask all the questions. And then you go through the 3 and probably find something else. But here, on behalf of Centurion on the bridges, Crescent Parkway, Crescent, Phase 2A. Added to this should be the amending of the development agreement, but on the P&Z slideshow, I just did the amended plat for removal of the 40-foot landscape buffer as required per the development. It's a quick timeline on the process of how we got here today, because it is a little unorthodox and it's not a standard subdivision that we've proceeded. We usually like to do it once, move on, and go through the process, but now we're here second time in a preliminary plat. So it's September 16th of 2022, the development agreement was passed by City Council, went over lot size and setbacks established in the TIA, and there's a lot of different ramifications of some development agreement, those are just some highlighted points that we discussed. On March 13th of this year, the TIA and drainage study reviewed by Gunter, TxDOT, Calvin, Finley, and our engineers were all passed. April 13th of this year, it's a typo, it's not supposed to be 22, it's supposed to be 23. The preliminary plat, which amended today, was approved with a 30-foot TxDOT right-of-way dedication. On April 27th of this year, the early grading permit from the construction plans that we reviewed through the city were approved for construction. We did, however, thankfully not start construction, or else this would be a lot worse off for us. But June 1st of 2023, TxDOT informed us that the right-of-way does not match the right-of-way needed for their TxDOT proposed plans. And this is the first time of us hearing of the TxDOT right-of-way on top of what was already dedicated and approved was needed of 30 feet. So the approved preliminary plat, a couple of line items on it is 140 foot or 140 rear entry single family products, 50 foot wide. There is a 70-foot open space from the TxDOT build back of curb to our right of way, and by right of way I mean the back of the alleyway where we have our street is. There is a 40-foot, so it's a 30-foot right of way dedication that exists, has been throughout TxDOT, matched all their original plans, has been on the survey since the time we purchased the property. And then for the DA, there's a 40-foot landscape buffer. Of that 40-foot landscape buffer is a 20-foot water line easement, which was Gunter's, now with the Mustangs, and then there's a utility easement on top of that for overhead transmission and other utilities to go through. In our plans that we had a 3-foot wide concrete sidewalk running adjacent to 121 that would tie into the what is Preston Crossing Drive, where we have our main entry. running along, so we have in our plans a 3-foot wide sidewalk running from a little bit shy of the current monument out there, all the way along 121, tying into the turning into Preston Crossing.
Is that going to interfere with the law?
It would never interfere with the So here is an overall rendering of what the preliminary plat was to consist of. You've got, as I explained, you've got the back of curb to where those trees are, the fencing is 70 feet. In there is a 40-foot landscape buffer, which was landscaping and overhead power lines. There are certain regulations on top of the water line. You can't plant certain tree species, size. There's a lot of ramifications that can prohibit our landscaping in that area. On top of that, the overhead easements, yes, you can plant trees 100%, but a lot of times the utility provider will make you do what they call ornamental, like crepe myrtles and other trees that don't need the big flower. But we have landscaping in there, but there's a 20-foot, but the biggest part is the 30-foot textile right-of-way, which was what we've been going on from the beginning of time. The last slide, we may not want to go back. Great, what's going to happen if I do. But that last slide was just a zoomed-in portion of that. So in here from the original plan, you can see here's the existing roadway. We had the 30-foot wide, which would come into around this area where we'd have our sidewalk. The 30-foot TxDOT easement is here. Then you've got a 20-foot water line easement and a 20-foot overhead utility easement. And it also have underground cables and more than just an overhead power line. There's more in there. But the total gap from where that future build out to our back of our right-of-way where the screening wall is, that was 70 feet. So 70 feet from all the traffic noise, 70 feet from a car broken down, that's the max of what's going to be. 70 foot with a board-on-board fence. There we go. Right. So on the proposed preliminary plat, what was passed at P&Z last week and what we're proposing to council today is keeping the exact same lot line, 140, 50-foot rear entry lots. Instead of the 70-foot right-of-way or 70-foot buffer from back of curb to my back of screening wall, we're increasing that now to 92 feet. So with TxDOT's changes, even though they're widening the road, they're taking an egregious amount of space that is not needed. But they're doing it. I can't fight them on that. So now the open space from back of the curb to my property line is 92 feet. It's a lot larger. It's better for noise. It's distance away. All of this, unlike the last one, is TxDOT right-of-way. We're requesting a 5-foot landscape easement into their right-of-way at a minimum. I've gotten 6 before. I'll shoot for 6, but a lot of times they come back saying 5. That's what I plan on doing both of my landscape. It's not in, it's on the outside parameters of the overhead utility easements. I can put trees in there, I can put shrubbery, florals, landscape beds. I can beautify that section because it's needed. You've got a large open space that is mainly just grass and irrigation. I have to have something along those lines. But eliminating the 40-foot landscape buffer allows us to be able to develop this. If I have to lose all this additional footage, 75 feet additional, and add on top of that another 40, this site is not developable for the development area, what we have planned. well over 40% of my single-family lots. And it would be catastrophic for that phase of development. But positive in all this is instead of a 3-foot wide sidewalk going along 121, you are seeing an 8-foot wide sidewalk running adjacent to 121 provided by TxDOT per their plans. So, long story short, we went from 7 foot up to 92 foot. It's an additional 22 feet of open space and buffer from the noise barrier of 121 to the backup right of way, which is done. Yes, 3 to 8 feet. And another thing to take into consideration with here is just because my property line is further back, that's not where the house is next. You got 15 to 18 feet of right of way, and you got another screen wall, which is the back pillar fence. And you got 25-foot build line. So after it's all said and done, you're at 138, 140 feet away from the back of the curb of the future building. This is a overall rendering of what we're proposing. This shows the full TxDOT build out. It has got so this has the full build out of TxDOT right of way. Here's where my existing right of way is as of today. They are taking here all the way down. It encumbers the entire 40-foot landscape buffer and then additional land. So what we're proposing is to eliminate the 40-foot landscape buffer, as that would take more of this property off and it wouldn't allow me to develop. You've got the 8-foot wide sidewalk within TxDOT right of way, outside of the water line easements, because Mustang does have requirements. They don't like water, concrete over the water lines if they can help it. And then you have the overhead utility easements running adjacent to this pond. This is a section of Preston Crossing, the side road entering off of 121. Since we are losing a lot of that wow factor of what we were hoping to capture with the original preliminary plat with the 40-foot landscape buffer, we're hoping to entice and upgrade the smaller section that's within the bridges already. So, and we're not saying that along 121 is not going to look good. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But the fact is I'm not going to have as much room for more landscaping along 121 with this change, so I need to help beautify other sections of 121 where I do have enough room to overbuild, to over-landscape, to over-entice the homeowners that are wanting, and to also make my residents who live in the bridges happy. It's something that they see driving it, because this is, most people do not go in through the roundabout. They come in through this drive. So this is a huge wow factor for the existing residents, but it's also a great tool for everyone who would live here in the future. So new enhancements. I wanted to save all the details from the last one to this page, but as I mentioned, went over before, the open space is increased by 22 feet along 121, which is good for noise barrier. I can still have landscaping. It's not just going to be a wall with nothing on it like it's currently on the back of the estate side. It's going to have landscaping. It's going to look good. I'm going to increase it, which goes on to my next side. Screening wall. Per the DA, we were allowed to have 8-foot board-on-board fencing. We know that that's not exactly desirable. It's not the best look. So, and I'm not trying to say, oh, you give me that, I'll give you this. But one thing that we're willing to pass up on here is enhancing from an 8-foot board on board to doing 6-foot masonry walls with stone columns. Additional, the entry monumentation within Preston Crossing, as I showed you on the last slide, stone wall or brick wall coming in, which transfers into a stone wall here with a large stone tower, channel paving on the roof. It's with stone columns all advanced. You can see the upgraded landscape package, sidewalks running within. We are keeping a lot of these trees and over landscaping in this. So you will have an enhanced monumentation. As I went over a little bit there, landscaping along Preston Crossing entry, significantly enhanced for the what renderings I just showed. And then the trail, of course, going from a 3-foot wide straight to 8-foot meandering through, provided by TxDOT when enhanced. Negatives, because not everything can be positive, there are negatives. We're trying to minimize the negatives as much as possible, but the negative is I will not have as much room from the original plan for landscaping. I will be able to put shrubberies, ornamental trees, trees throughout, florals, but to say that I'm going to have the same exact landscape per the approved preliminary plat to the new, that's just, I'm not going to lie to you, it won't be as nice, but I will still have to meet requirements with landscaping and have them. I'm just going to have a smaller area to work in. But the whole area from my landscape easement to there will be maintained by the HOA, will be landscaped, should have irrigation within those parameters so that they can be fertilized and not how parkways look right now within the bridges. So we're working on, I just wanted to highlight that we are looking at the negatives. We're not blind to them, we're not trying to hide them, but this is the only negative that I've seen that I've talked about for emails, that this is the predominant negative amendments. So I did have emails back and through with residents and took back some of their feedback that they were giving me on some concerns or conceptions that they have. So I did bring those to light in the last one, but one of the conceptions was by approving the this preliminary plat of 121 will be bare with no landscaping. False. We are going to have landscaping. Yes, it's not going to be as much landscaping, but we will still have landscaping within those parameters. It's not going to just be a bare empty space. We will have florals, we will have trees, shrubs, landscape beds, sod, irrigation. It will still be a nice, warm welcome to the community. Along 121, the homes will look crammed into a space. False. We are further away from the right-of-way than we ever were before. Yes, we will not have as much landscaping, but the further back you are, the less attention you get to the boxiness and to the tight crampiness, which we're not changing any of that. It's exactly what it is, but no, it will not look like it's just crammed into a small place. And the most important one of these is changing this will cause more trees to be removed on the southern property, affecting those that live on Stonebridge Pass. False. We will not be increasing any numbers of trees being removed. We will not be touching any trees within the floodplain in the creekway area behind there. Predominantly, all of those trees are located within those residents' lots. It's just their backyard fencing doesn't go all the way back. They own the predominant motion of those creeks, and that's where most of the trees are. The next slide coming here is what will, if I'm unable to get the development agreement amended to remove the 40-foot landscape buffer, if I'm unable to do the preliminary plat or to get that amended, there are unfortunate ramifications because I would have to go through a complete redesign of the entire phase. I would lose 40% of my lots. My capital stack would be completely shammed, and I believe that would also affect the PID reimbursement setup that we have that's already approved. But the denial plat would also eliminate or not delay the internal landscaping enhancements. So right now we are enhancing all of Bridges Parkway from the roundabout all the way down to where it currently ends today. That's all tied to this phase, enhancing that section. So if I can't develop this, I can't go in and do that phase of all the trees and irrigation and beautifying Bridges Parkway. It also, the amenity center is directly tied to this. If I can't start phase 2A, I can't start the amenity center, which that's a pool, restrooms, shade structures, playgrounds, everything that this community needs. Unfortunately, Larry, if I don't get this, that affects your park. The park is directly tied to this space. Without that, I cannot develop that next park that's located with the trails that meander through and that connect everyone at the bridges together. Regardless of that, though, I will say I am hoping in the next, now that it's cooled down, the next couple of weeks, start the entry monumentation over on Callaway with trees, get rid of those other white pipes that are sticking out of the ground, and start my sidewalk preparation for the ISD from the estate side all the way to our far southern boundary that'll tie into the ISD's future school site that is started. And with that, I Q&A for the council. If passed, I will need about 30 days to revamp all my construction plans for resubmittal in hopes that I get a grading permit within 15 to 30 after submittals. So 60 days to start. It will be about a 12 to 13 month development process from the time iron first hits to when I get substantial completion. But the plan is and I talked about this with the last administration too, was the park and amenity center. It's basically on its own separate island. I've got utilities, I've got roadways, I've got dirt, I've got everything there. I don't need to wait on substantial completion for phase 2A to start that part. So once I get released on this development loan, 60 days start rolling iron, I plan on developing to where I can get I don't know if the pool will open by summertime this year for pool season, but maybe a couple of weeks they can enjoy the pool this year. But the likelihood of it is I plan on starting 3 to 4 months from the time I start construction of this. It typically takes 5 to 6 months construction for that, but I plan on having the amenity center done before phase 2A is done. I'm trying to. If I start in 3 months, that puts me in January, 6-month build. If everything goes right, that would put me in July. So July, I might be able to make end of summer season this year. If that's what the
We can't hear.
The improvements to the Bridges Parkway.
that would start. I don't need to wait until landscaping in phase 2A, so we can start pretty quick on that before completion.
So maybe about the same time, you finish at the same time,
I'd
or sooner.
like to finish all the landscaping within on the internals before I am landscaping phase 2A, so before completion.
We're on 17, correct? Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the amending of the Bridges Phase 2A development agreement to remove the requirement for the 40-foot landscaping buffer.
Okay, Larry, second. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. That motion carries. We're on to number 18 and...
Question for Mayor and Council.
Yes.
Are we approving the amendment to the preliminary plat as well?
That's next, and is that number 18?
Or Bridges Phase 2 is?
Yes, this is number 18. But Mr. Todd, did you want to speak on this one? You put 18 on here. Okay. You're good?
I'm good.
Okay. So discuss, consider, and possibly take action on amending the preliminary plat for the Bridges Phase 2A development.
So I also make a motion to approve amending the preliminary plat for the Bridges Phase 2A development.
Okay, Connie, second. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. The motion carries. Oh, sorry. Okay, we are on number 19. Discuss, consider, and possibly take action on a resolution. No. Did I skip something? I thought we had Palmer. Sorry, getting a little bit ahead. So number 19, discuss considering possibly take action on preliminary plat for the proposed subdivision Palmer Lakes. You have a presentation?
Yes, Madam Mayor, and good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, Noah Pellis, Director of Community Economic Development. Location for the preliminary plat for Palmer Lake subdivision, it borders Westman Road and Little Elm Creek Road, just north of Fox Wallace Road. Here's an aerial photo of the property. It's currently undeveloped. We have waterways in that area. And it is in the ETJ. We do have a development agreement with Centurion American on this property. This is a copy of the preliminary plan. There in staff research, I should hold this a little farther away. In staff's research, there is a bypass route for Highway 121 as planned, which may cross the subject parcel. We also have a planned County Major Arturo Road, which may also cross the subject parcel. Land for these future rights-of-way have not been acquired either by TxDOT or Grayson County. Therefore, at this time, this does not prevent approval of the preliminary plan. As I said, the property is located outside the city limits. It's also within our ETJ. That's why the city is the platting authority. Lot size ranges from a minimum of 6,000 square feet to a maximum of 23,413 square feet. The preliminary plat does meet the adopted city subdivision ordinance and has been reviewed by the city engineer and myself as the plan director. On October 12, 2023, the Planning and Zoning Commission convened and forwarded a recommendation to approve the preliminary plat for the Palmer Lake subdivision. This concludes my report this time, Madam Mayor and Council.
So Noah, what you're saying is that the TxDOT road and the other road, that's really between them and TxDOT.
It's between the applicant and the property owner.
Okay, so it really doesn't have anything to do with us, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
This is just a preliminary plat, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat for the proposed subdivision of Palmer Lake located in the southeast corner of Westman Road and Little Elm Creek Road within the city's Gunter ETJ.
What is the time frame in which they are annexing into the city? I know that there was a time frame that if they didn't do it, they automatically would be annexed into the city. Was it started like a 3-year clock? And
That is correct. According to the development agreement, they would be annexed within 3 years.
and how much of that has passed? Close to a year, maybe?
Not quite that much.
6 months? Brock says 6
I
months.
would say that's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. I'll second that.
All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous. The motion carries. Moving on to number 20. Discuss, consider, and possibly take action on a resolution to adopt an investment policy for the city of Gunter. And Lori has a presentation for us.
I actually don't have a presentation this evening. I'm just going to talk through what the investment policy is. Texas Government Code Chapter 2256 states that, which is known as the Public Funds Investment Act, the PFIA. I'm sorry, something wrong. Governments are supposed to adopt their investment policy once a year. Y'all adopted your first investment policy back in March of 2022. And what this is we bringing it forward to have it adopted once again to meet the requirements of the local government code. It is a standard policy that states how we can invest the funds of the city. Currently, we only have funds with Simmons, our local depository, and Tex Pool, which is a pool of funds governed by the state of Texas legislations. And the investment policy also designates your investment officers, which would be the finance director and the city secretary. Something that's important to note in investment policy is it governs the types of investments that the city is allowed to make with their funds. And so we know what we can and cannot invest in. But like I said, currently we only have our money in interest-bearing accounts at Simmons and Tex Pool. One other thing to point out is when we are considering investing funds, and this is included in the policy, the safety of the principal is always first and foremost in our mind. Liquidity, yield, and diversification. So yield is one of the last things that we consider whenever we're looking at investment opportunities. And so the only significant change was an administrative change from the prior year, as we had city manager and finance director as investment officers. We're changing it for practical standpoint. That's the city secretary and the finance director for those types of items. Do you have any questions for me?
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution for an investment policy for the city of Gunter.
Patsy, second. All in favor? That's unanimous. The motion carries. We're going to move on to number 21. Discuss, consider, and possibly take action on a resolution to approve the Grayson Central Appraisal District's resolution number 2023-02. Grayson Central Appraisal District for the renovation of its current location located at 512 North Travis Street in Sherman.
Okay, so this item that GCAD came to ask has to ask all of their entities to take action so that they can remodel their building. So according to their tax code, they have to have 3/4 of the taxing entities in their jurisdiction to vote to approve the resolution that's already passed through their board. And it is to remodel their current location and to do some alleyway acquisition for parking. They will not, there's no additional costs in their budget for this. So whatever our parcel allocation that we're going to have based on our appraised value will not be affected by this renovation. They did research and determined that renovating versus building new was the most economical way for them to go at this time. And they need 25 of the 33 taxing units to act on this resolution for them to be able to move forward. So this is Gunter saying yes or no on being able to move forward with the renovations.
Madam Mayor, I move that we pass the resolution to approve the Grayson Central Appraisal District Resolution number 2023-02, Grayson Central Appraisal District, for renovation of the current location located at 5 North Travis Street, Sherman.
Okay, Patsy, second. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, and that carries forward. Agenda item number 22, presentation regarding the house. Oh, we did that. I have 22 and 3. Did we take care of both of them? Okay. Right. I don't think we did. I think we did 23, but not 22. I didn't realize the presentation. Okay. Correct. Okay. So we're on agenda item number 24. Discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the proclamation celebrating Arbor Day at Gunter City Park on November 11th. And Adam Adams is going to be presenting this.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I was waiting for my items. This is one that we're looking for Gunter to become a tree city, and there are requirements for becoming a tree city. One is that we do an Arbor Day proclamation. So this item discusses the proclamation. we'll be doing it, we would be doing it because I appreciate the mayor taught. We're going to do it on November 11th. It was Veterans Day, that doesn't work. We're going to do it on November 12th. You have to hold an Arbor Day ceremony. You have to have a tree preservation mitigation ordinance, and you have to create a tree board, or you can sign those duties to an existing board. I don't know how you want me to go into the staff report or not. I'll just cover it real quickly. I don't want to take everybody's time. We have a unique opportunity to become a tree city. Staff is requesting that council authorize this event. Here's a breakdown of what this would be an ideal time to move forward with the pursuit of becoming a tree city and how we would address the requirements. We would be the first city in Grayson County to become a tree city. All our neighbors to the south are already tree cities, but we'd be the first one in Grayson County. We do have a sponsor for this event. It is Heidelberg Materials. They are willing to pay for the Arbor event. Actually, they are very excited. When I talked to the gentleman, they do Earth Day. They planted thousands of trees already. They're going to pay for the additional trees to be planted. We have a concept plan for Parks and Rec, and one day Preston Road is going to be expanded. And so what we're looking at is planting evergreens on the that would be the western side of the park. So we would have the trees ahead of time to screen Preston Road, because Preston Road is going to expand into the edge of the park. So what the sponsor is willing to do is they're willing to pay $20,000 toward trees and irrigation. They would pay $1,000 toward the event. This would supplant the $2 per capita requirement, so there's no cost to the city whatsoever. We already have a tree mitigation ordinance. I will be revising that in the near future, bring it to council, but it's effective right now. And then the planning and zoning committee, by ordinance, at a later time, we could assign the tree board's duties. The tree board's duties are very minimal. Twice a year during the regular meetings, they just need to review the tree mitigation ordinance. And then they would hear from developers if there are any tree mitigation appeals. So in other words, on those properties, there's a tree mitigation cost. P&Z already hears appeals for variances, and this would naturally fit their current duties. So it's a very minor thing as far as P&Z goes. Any questions?
So hold on just one second, because I do have two speakers here,
Sure.
and they might have questions for you, and then I'll open it up to the council to discuss or to answer questions. I have Mr. Don Anderson and then Mr. Jerry Perry.
Don Anderson, 102 Falls Creek Lane. As a veteran, dual service, served during the Vietnam War, and also in the Gulf War, I'm glad you decided to take it off of Veterans Day. I think that would have been a very disrespectful thing to have on Veterans Day, to take away from those people who served and gave their lives or lost loved ones in it. So I appreciate that. The other question I've got, Heidelberg, also known as Black Mountain. Guaranteed it's not known as Black Mountain? Is this the...
It used to be Lehigh Hansen, and then the companies merged.
Okay.
Black Mountain is in Dorchester.
All right, so this is the one that's got the quarry or segregation rocks or whatever?
Black Mountain has the quarry.
Heidelberg.
Black Mountain has the quarry, and Heidelberg is, they'll be hauling in rock.
So they're hauling in rock.
Yes, sir. In the county on the west side of Preston Road.
So it's still going to be a hazard for a lot of the things that's happening. I understand that they're in the county so that the city council doesn't have anything to do with them. However, it appears that we've been negotiating with them, not working to stop something else from, impacting our city and the health of our city. Have we talked with anybody to see if there's any reason why we need to have that as part of in our northern area?
They're in the county, they own the land, we have no authority to...
I keep hearing that about BNSF, that you keep saying you want to, and I think we need to be looking out for what if we have to work with somebody else in order to keep people like this out of our cities, you know, or direct them in another area, we shouldn't just say it's out in the county and just disregard them entirely, let them do what they want. Look at a different location for them and work with them maybe to get that different location.
They've already purchased the land. They have
So in
already
other
gotten
words-
approval from TxDOT to put in a turn lane. Again, neither us or the county have the authority to zone that.
So we don't even try. Congratulations.
Mr. Jerry Perry? Okay, you're good? Okay, so any other discussion for?
Where's the TxDOT study? Can we see it? The TxDOT study that you said is there.
Well, this is outside of the agenda item for discussion, so we really can't discuss the Heidelberg because it's different from Arbor Day. I'm sorry. Now, the council may want to put that on the agenda in the future to discuss it, but
That
we
would be
can't
great.
do it on this
Because
one.
she discussed it at the HOA meeting. We're just asking her where that study was. You discussed it at the HOA meeting.
Okay, so maybe we can put that on the agenda or do some research and get back with you. Adam's finished. Do you have anybody have questions for? Now, Adam, would you like for me to be there to read that proclamation that day on the 12th?
Actually, Mayor, you would normally they would want you.
Would you like for me to do that now? Okay,
Thank you.
I'm happy to do that. Whereas in 1872, the Nebraska Board of Agriculture established a special day to be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can be a solution to combating climate change by reducing the erosion of our precious topsoil, by wind and water, cutting heating and cooling costs, moderating the temperature, cleaning the air, producing life-giving oxygen, and providing habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas the trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now therefore, I, Karen Souther, Mayor of the City of Gunter, Texas, do hereby proclaim Saturday, November 11th, the 12th actually, Sunday the 12th, 2023 as Arbor Day in the City of Gunter, Texas, and I will urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. Thank you. Okay, so we need to pass the resolutions.
Hi, I would like to make a motion to pass the resolution to create an Arbor Day on November the 12th for the City of Gunter. And I'm super happy about the proclamation.
I've got a question.
All right.
So will this date or around this time every year be when we will observe this?
My past history with Arbor Days is you can hold, a city can determine annually when they want to do an Arbor Day.
Okay.
There is no set time limit other than in Texas, I would say you can't do one in the summer.
No. No.
Any other time you'd be allowed to. Normally you want to do either fall or early spring.
Okay.
So we have a motion, but I need a second.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt that. I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, and that resolution passes. Thank you, Adam.
You're welcome, Mayor.
We are on agenda item number 25, discuss and consider and possibly take action on authorizing staff to move forward on advertising for an RFP addressing storm sewer improvements and repairs at Fox Bend Trace Road. Adam, you've got this one as well, right?
Yes, ma'am. What it is that we're going to need to put an RFP out for storm sewer improvements. We have a void on Fox Bend Trace that has occurred underneath the road. It's with the bridges, and it's growing. And so there's some urgency to repair the void. We'll have to open it up. It's actually a tear in the storm sewer. And so we'll need to open the panel up, repair the storm sewer, and then put the panel back. And we obviously want to do this quickly and expeditiously as possible because the void will grow larger and we don't want a pavement failure. So we're just asking for permission to move forward with an RFP at this time.
Okay. So Patsy lives on the street, so she's going to abstain from the vote. Is that correct? Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion that we authorize the staff to move forward on the advertising for an RFP addressing the storm sewer improvements there on Fox Bend Trace Road.
Okay, Connie second. All in favor? Cheryl? There you go. That passes unanimously with Patsy abstaining. So we are on agenda item number 26, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on adopting the Telestar signpost system where allowed within the city limits of Gunter. Okay, Adam, you've got
Got to show
this
it.
one's yours too? Okay. He brought the polls. It's good to see them. We can see them. They show it now.
Yes, it's showing now. All right. Mayor, Council, currently what you see, we're ready to move forward to start replacing poles, signposts in the city of Gunter. And what I'm proposing is that we change from the round poles. And by the way, TxDOT will always be round poles. So on Preston and 121, those will remain round poles because TxDOT has probably a couple million of those poles stashed and they're never changing. These poles you're seeing more and more in cities. Frisco, Addison, Denton are switching to these poles, the Telspar poles. They allow multiple signage that can go different directions. And then instead, so I'm going to try to show you, this isn't the best, there's a sleeve that goes in the ground. These can be done, there's backup I put in there, these can be done primarily by one person, whereas a lot of signs take two. And the sleeve goes in the ground. The design standards are much more exacting. In other words, if you look on the design standards I provided to you, instead of just putting a pole in, no, it's 5 notches above grade. Everything, this pretty much lends itself to exactness. The other thing is, as a topper, this piece right here, this is not a fully extended pole. By the way, these poles, minimum pole height is 11 feet. So I couldn't really carry one of those around, sorry. And they didn't have any little models like required. It's like, isn't there anyone? And on the top of those, so in other words, you would have a stop sign, and then above the stop sign, you would actually have the streets above the stop sign. And a lot of times you'll see on the round poles, even on these poles, in my opinion, they make a mistake and they use these toppers where they put the street signs. And if you ever go see them, they're always bent, twisted, whatever. What we propose is, and it's on sign specs, if you adopt it tonight, we would put an extension, sliding extension on top, and that's where the signs would go above stop signs and things like that at intersections. It's a superior pole design. It does cost a little more than a round pole. It's about 40 to 50% more than a round pole. But it's a better pole. It's also automatically designed that if it's hit, it pinches above the sleeve, and we can actually reuse the pole. We can cut it, sleeve it back, and use the pole, so it prevents a lot of the waste. It's a more efficient pole system, and I'm welcome to answer any questions about it.
Is that also known as a breakaway pole?
Yeah, it pinches above the sleeve. So if you hit it, instead of round poles, you have to build a slightly different system for it to break away. This one's built to break away.
Well,
And the pole is narrower. This is a 1 3/4 inch. Round poles are 2 3/8 inch. So if you ever see one of these poles, I was supposed to have pictures. I did not get them provided to me, and mine did not come out. Because they're a narrower pole sign, you'll notice that the signs stick out actually more on these poles than they do round poles. Round poles are a little bit distracting because they're bigger. And the nice thing is, a one-man crew can handle these poles. They're direct drive into the ground. And they're designed for you. They're meant to be driven in turf, but we can also do concrete. Just a little more challenging.
So moving forward, that would be the pole that would be in all future neighborhoods everywhere.
It would be adopted into design standards. That is correct. The only exception to that would be in some of your neighborhoods where you have a planned development. You may have amenity poles, bridges. I believe the signs are on your lamp posts or things like that. That's fine. But for sign poles, this would be adopted. Sign posts.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to move this for the city of Gunter, the Telstar sign post system for the city limits of Gunter.
Patsy second, and all in favor? Cheryl? Okay. That's unanimous, that motion carries. We're going to move to agenda item number 27, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on signing an interlocal agreement or signing interlocal agreements with Grayson County in compliance with section 791 of the Texas Government Code, otherwise known as the Interlocal Cooperation Act, for the purpose of contracted road repairs, road blading, mowing, and tree trimming of various roads with the city of Gunter, in the city of Gunter, city limits. This is yours, Adam?
Yes. We have had this before. Deidre's done this before in the past with the county. There was just a little bit of a gap where they weren't responding. But basically on the outliers of all our properties, on the gravel roads, the rock roads, we don't have the ability to effectively maintain those. So we're either looking for a private contractor or the county. And comparing the prices, I can tell you the county is a much better deal for us. So what we're asking for council's ability to enter into this cooperative, agreement, so that the county will charge us for the maintenance of the roadsides, blading the roads, and tree trimming. One of the attachments for you was where we had to move quickly, and we did sign authorization to do a repair because we had a 10-horn that was broken on one of our roads. It was an emergency repair. We also learned out of this. This was a great learning experience because what I've learned is in the periphery of our city limits, people steal signs. So I've learned a little bit about that too. So it's nice working with the county. They explained to me if you want to shut a road down, don't put signs up, put big piles of rock, because that's the only way to shut down the road. So we did that, and we appreciate Grayson County for stepping up and assisting us in this.
Madam Mayor, Grayson County did a good job for us, and I move that we approve the interlocal agreement with Grayson County Commissioners for the purpose of contracting road repairs, road blading, mowing, tree trimming, and various roads within the city limits of Gunter.
Patsy second, all in favor? Okay, that's unanimous.
Thank you.
That carries, thank you. We'll move on to agenda item number 29, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving ordinance amending chapter 1 of general provisions, article 1.05 public. So sorry. Catch you guys. Agenda item number 28, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving an ordinance amending chapter 1 general provisions, article 1.03, city council section 1.03.002, date, time, and place of meetings of the code of ordinances to provide guidelines for cancellation of meetings. I originally returned this for reconsideration, but I was looking at the wrong ordinance prior, so I'm not in opposition to this one, how it was written, that you produced in the last email. It was different from my packet. So I would say I'm going to withdraw the reconsideration. So I think that I'm withdrawing it. So we're good. I was good with the language. I was looking at the wrong one when I sent it back for reconsideration. Okay, so no action, and I'll sign that. Okay, so that was 28, yeah. Originally, the language in it had not been updated. I did submit information because that's just to clarify the issue. Last meeting we discussed the fact that I was not available, so there's my text stream and phone calls to show that I was. But I will sign that one. So I'm going to move on to number 29. That is discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving ordinance amending Chapter 1 General Provisions, Article 1.05 Public Meetings Policies, 1.05.004 Rules for Public Participation in the Code of Ordinances to provide further regulations regarding decorum of public meetings. We tabled this last time. Right? Okay.
So what we had discussed last time, and actually I'm kind of glad it got tabled because I got to thinking and I realized that we had kind of left something out. We had discussed that during the public comment section, there would be 1 hour. So just so you know, we had looked at multiple cities to see what their rules of decorum were and kind of compile that into a workable ordinance for us. 1 hour period for comments. People would have to sign up by 5:45. It's difficult to start a meeting at 6 if you're letting people continue to sign up past 5:45. Instead of people getting 2 minutes to speak, they would be allowed to have 3 minutes to speak because it appears that that's what most of the cities do, and people had commented that it was difficult to get all of their thoughts in a 2-minute period. And we also looked at several cities that have a policy where you can have up to 5 people, and each person has 3 minutes, so that would be a total of 15 minutes. They could compile their time and they could actually give a presentation. That could be a PowerPoint, that could be handouts, that could be all sorts of professional presentations that they want to give, or they could just have 15 minutes and one person could speak and then 5 people would stand there with them as they were speaking. What we didn't talk about was a time limit for public hearing. I don't know, is that, Andy, are you legally allowed to give a time limit, or is that?
You can't hear.
I'm sorry, say that again.
We can't hear.
So what Andy...
Let me clarify this, because I went to I was at TML conference on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th. One of the sessions that I chose to be in was Go Home Early. It's going to help us with meetings eventually. But I did ask this question because this was a common question. I was told that you cannot limit public comments to a time limit. I was also told that you definitely you cannot limit the public hearing. One person at a time, they come up, they speak, they're done. They can't come back for seconds. But as long as someone wants to come up during a public hearing, they can do that, like zoning, annexation, whatever. We can't limit that. What we do have flexibility with is like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes if we want to do that. But we can't cut off to the 15-minute cutoff because the legislature allows a resident or anybody, any citizen who wants to sign up to speak on an agenda item before or during that item. So let's say that item is number 20 and they come in, 20 minutes late, but we're not there yet. They can still turn in that card to Deidre and speak to that. We can't limit that. So I'll let Andy correct me on any of that. But I did ask these questions. I had 7 questions after the meeting, and that was part of it. I may be forgetting some, but that was part of it. Those I know for sure.
I had a question when that came up.
I do have Jerry Perry on this one, so if you'd like to come up. And Mr. Self, if you'd like to comment on this agenda item, you can after Jerry.
So it's Jerry Perry, 1081 Pike Road, in the Woods. I'd like to address the proposed ordinance that's before the council tonight as it relates to meeting decorum. Though I do agree that for purposes of civil and fruitful meeting, there's some degree of decorum needs to be kept. I agree that it is not appropriate for citizens or council members to speak over turn or over the voice of those that have the floor and they're acknowledged to speak. I've talked to experience tonight with a couple people that are no longer here, but that should not happen. But as citizens, we must respect the opportunity that we are given to speak and do so in a non-threatening or non-disruptive behavior. Simply taking away someone's integrity for something that they're trying to achieve. As discussed previously, I would like to acknowledge Connie, when she stated here today that she was open to allowing us to have 3 minutes. I love that idea. Sometimes it's difficult to get something in 2 minutes. I think 3 minutes is very appropriate, and I appreciate that. I do not, however, agree with limiting speakers for a total of 1 hour for public comment. To do so tramples on the citizens' needs and abilities to speak out against something that may concern them. It's obviously a large problem. Obviously, like the BNF situation where you've got several people that are obviously upset about something. They need to have the ability to speak. But again, I mean, I agree with personal decorum. We have had citizens, obviously, that have been out of control, that have been outspoken themselves, that have spoken above their turn. That kind of does take away the integrity of what the citizens are trying to achieve. And that should not happen. But again, I do not agree with limiting us the ability to speak. Anyone who wants to speak should have the ability to speak, as long as they stay respectful. And as far as addressing an individual council member, I also disagree with the fact of not being able to do that. Because maybe the problem we have is with one council member versus the entire council. Again, as long as it's respectful, that we're not disruptive, we're not calling names, we're not calling someone something very ugly. I do not agree with not being able to address an individual council member. Again, decorum is important, but it needs to be in the right language.
Thank you. Mr. Davidson.
When this came up last time, I'd asked, because some people can't get it. I work at my house, so it's easy for me, but like Angie, she's working and can't get here. Is there a way to do it online?
So I did take note of your online sign-in perspective. The city secretary and I looked at that, and it's just not possible with the website that we're using, and there's multiple. It's too complex for us right now. We can't do it. I'll be glad to accept any other options, but respectfully to your one comment, I wanted to make sure that I responded to you. We actually did research this, and we were looking at some creative means to assist those that might not be able to get here in the appropriate time, because we all have to work.
What about an email address specifically to speak, like create agenda, time, like for the.
Okay, so there's 3 sections where you can speak. If you aren't here in time for a public hearing, you don't have to sign up for that. I'll just open it. You can come up at any time until nobody else wants to speak, as long as you just come up once, and then you're done. And then I'll close the public hearing. For citizen comments, you really don't necessarily need to sign up in advance. If you're here, you sign up, because once it's closed, if you come late, obviously it's closed, that's too late. But on agenda items, it's really not necessary to sign up early, because as long as you get here before that agenda item, I mean, we're on 29 tonight, we started at 6 o'clock.
Right.
So, you know, if you were to walk in the door right now, we're on 29, you can speak 29 and anything after that. So I'm not sure that ahead of time would actually help anybody.
The only other suggestion I have is, I have seen it, and I think it's permitted, that if you can't make the meeting, put it in an email, put it in a letter, give to somebody to give to the mayor, and that can be considered and or read, and it's the same effect, although the person's not physically here.
Right. Yep, that's perfect. Thank you.
Can the mayor read that, or do they need to? Okay, all right. So I'm happy to do that. So maybe I'll add that to my notes as well, because I'll post something online. Yes. So you're talking about for citizen comments, that sign-in sheet? Absolutely. Right. Right. Sure. Right. You could certainly bring me your list, absolutely. And then if someone comes in after that, I'll still accept it. If they say, hey, I want to participate, they're here, I can add them at that time. I wouldn't deny anybody. Yeah, we just can't cut it off. But I can cut it off to bring it to you, and then if somebody walks in, obviously we'll honor that. But yes, if you want to send me an email because you can't be here, I'm happy to read that. I'll do that. If that's something that I can do, I'm happy to do that. That's all I had. I looked back at my notes from TML, and I've covered everything that I had asked questions with regard to that. So are there any other questions?
So in light of that, just to make sure that I understand, Andy, it is not legal to limit any time for either public comment or public hearing. That's what you said.
There's a difference. So you can provide reasonable guidance, make rules, always right to speak to it, but limit the word time like 5 minutes. Public hearing, I think they can speak however long they want. Respect that, that's my understanding. There's a difference between the right to speak anytime on each item versus a public.
So just to clarify, a public comment would be maybe about something that's not even on the agenda. And then a public hearing would be about discussing something that's specific to an agenda item. So during the... Yeah.
We can't, can y'all use the mic?
Okay, so there's three, I'll go back to the three types. So when you come in, you can sign up to talk about anything you want. Duck ponds, dogs, birds, whatever you want. That is under citizen comments. You get the 2 minutes, you come up, you state your name, your address, you can say whatever you want. We can only answer with factual information. The second type of comment section is public hearing. That's something that was like a notice posted. I have to open it. I have to allow anybody to talk until everybody has had a chance, and then I'll close it. But that's on like the annexations, zonings, things like that. Those are, you know, where they're posted, and we have to offer that. The third type of way to speak is you can look at the agenda and say, hey, I want to sign up to speak on, you know, like these, agenda number 29. And obviously, if you weren't here in the beginning when Dietrich collected all those and the meeting's already started, you came in 2 hours later and you say, hey, I wanted to sign up for number 30, we're on 29, you could still do that. You can grab the sign up at the back and you can do that. What I'm saying is, what I asked the TML is that we can't limit the time length. We can limit the 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes that we give you. We can't limit the length of time. Like, we can't say, we're only going to do it for 30 minutes or we're only going to do it for an hour. They said, absolutely not, we couldn't do it. So, okay.
Just to be clear about a public hearing. A public hearing is a procedure that's required by statute. And so it's in the local government code. When you have annexations, you have to have 1 or 2 public hearings. In zoning, you have to have public hearings for that, or any type of zoning decision has to have a public hearing. So it's spelled out in the statute that has to be done on the agenda. But that's different than the public's right to speak on any other item or citizens' comments. So it's just a clear, different procedural process that's required by law. So answers the question.
None of those 3 can have their time limit, is what you're saying.
But we can limit the individual speaking time of each person.
Okay, so hearings, well, we cannot, it's my understanding, we can't limit a time limit overall period. We cannot say the public has a right to speak only 2 hours. We cannot do that. So on citizens' rights to speak, you can, reasonable rules in place. I would consider that to be per speaker, not overall. Because if you have 300 people that want to speak and they all get 2 minutes, that whatever time it is, that has to be allowed. So we can't put an overall time limit on that time period in total. Does that make sense? Okay, maybe I misunderstood. I'm sorry.
Well, in light of TML, I still stand by the fact that I have been on that side, and I think that 3 minutes is more fair. It is difficult to get your thoughts into 2 minutes, and I think that in light of that, that I make a motion to Okay, I make a motion to approve ordinance amending Chapter 1 General Provisions, Article 1.05 Public Meeting Policy, Section 1.05.004 Rules of Public Participation on the Code of Ordinance to provide further regulations regarding decorum of public meetings and increasing the time limit per person to speak to 3 minutes. Well, 1 hour public comment we can't do. So, and also add, they have to sign up by 5:55. Is that it? Yeah, so if 5 people want to combine their times, then they can give a group presentation.
This is actually a very messy ordinance. I would say that at the end of the day, another question I ask is, because I'm presiding officer, I can allow more time if someone needs to keep going. I can make accommodations for someone who may need extra time for whatever reason. I can, on my own, doing as presiding officer, I can allow 3 minutes to everybody. I can do that. On the other hand of that, this ordinance that we had from last time, there's a couple of things that were changed, and one is every person desiring to speak shall address the entire council and shall not single out a member of the council. So if we pass this today, this is also in that ordinance, which I won't enforce because it would be limiting someone's freedom of speech. The other change in this ordinance is if a person fails to request to speak before speaking, the mayor or presiding officer may rule them out of order, and that is correct. If you're in the audience and not at the podium, I will begin doing that. I will absolutely do that. And then remind them they don't have the floor. A person shall neither be, by conversation or otherwise, delay or interrupt the proceedings or the peace of the meeting, nor disturb any. I'm totally fine with that. I'll absolutely enforce that. But if we want to add the time to this ordinance, we can increase the time and add the 3 minutes. But, I could do that anyway.
Out of curiosity, the section that doesn't allow a person to be singled out, if that is passed in the ordinance, does the mayor get to decide not to?
If it's in an ordinance, it's the local law. If the mayor, as the presiding officer, doesn't want to do that, refuses to do that, we probably look at procedures on how a council member, probably by vote, can overrule what the mayor's action is. That would be a rule of decorum. So in other words, if the mayor says, I'm not going to follow this ordinance, at a council meeting, council member says, and I don't know if this is in the rules of decorum or not, it's in some cities, not in others. Mayor, I move to enforce, I object and move to enforce our local ordinance. Second, all in favor, the presiding officer would be overruled. Does that answer your question?
And what I'll say to that is I'm not going to limit free speech, and you have every right to address anyone up here. As long as you're respectful, you can address any single person within their capacity of the function of their office, okay? You can't come in here and tell them their hair is ugly, or their yard isn't kept right, or you don't mow enough. But if you say, I don't like the way you voted on this because of this, I'm not going to limit that. I am not going to interrupt with free speech. I'm just not going to do it. Okay, Patsy, second. All in favor? The motion was to approve this ordinance and then adding a 3-minute. It's to approve both of these clauses. One was that every person desiring to speak shall address the entire city council and shall not single out a member of council, the audience, or staff member. I'm saying I'm not going to enforce that. The other was if a person fails to request to speak before speaking, or if it comes out of order or speaks out of turn, I will enforce that. And then we are increasing it to 3 minutes. And I think those are the 3 changes. Yeah, I can allow you to do that, but you just even have to be in the ordinance. I don't want it in the ordinance because we can't deny somebody who gets here on time. But I'll allow you to do that. Okay. We can add it in there. Okay, so Patsy seconded, all in favor. Okay, that's unanimous and that carries. We are on agenda item number 30, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving ordinance amending Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.04, Boards, Commissions, and Committees. This is the interview process for city boards, commissions, committees. I sent this back for reconsideration. That statement is in the agenda packet. I don't want to read through all of that. I think it's crystal clear, and I'm going to allow Andy to respond to that because it was an issue of statute?
I agree with the position that P&Z members are municipal officers that are subject to the mayor's appointment, then ratified by the council. But EDC board members, it's my opinion that they are not municipal officers, so they would not be subject to the mayor's appointment power, but would be subject to the council's appointment, it's not really appointment, interview process and nomination and vote as a body. So that's the distinguishment that I would.
I have a question on that. I understand that, but for P&Z members then, will you do an interview with them? You're just gonna 7 people apply and you decide? Because we had a lot of, unhappy residents before because that's the way it was done. And they didn't think it was fair. I get that you can do that, but will you have an interview with them? And if so, can we not do the same interview process with the chairman of the P&Z there to help and a council member or so that we at least can hear the candidates before you choose the one that you're doing?
I have every intention of pulling the P&Z chairman in and at least one other person of his choice or her choice. Absolutely, yes. But they need to be choosing who they're working with.
Yeah.
And if it's P&Z, it's not a bad idea for Noah to be there as well, or anybody that develop that position. So yes, of course, absolutely.
Well, I would like for you to consider a council member since we're the ones that have to ratify. It would be nice if they would hear your interviews.
I'll consider it. I will absolutely consider it. Jeannie, did you want to speak to this agenda item?
Yes,
please. Please come up to the podium.
I request that you go back and do, Mr. Lawyer, that you go back and do some research on the EDC comment you just made. According to Texas law, EDC is a nonprofit organization. Therefore, it is governed by the mayor. She is authorized to appoint the people on the EDC according to the documents. If you haven't read it, go back and read it.
Andy, can you tell me what you based your decision on?
So I prepared a memo that I forwarded to the mayor today, and it is dealing with the nonprofit status of the organization. So the test for a municipal officer is that you have some sovereignty and that you are not that you are not independent, that you are independent. So if you are controlled by another entity, which EDCs are, they would not have their own sovereignty and not be independent. So, for example, EDCs are nonprofit corporations by law, but by law also they are totally dependent upon the city council. So the city council appoints every member at their will. They can appoint and terminate at their will. Every budget, every year of an EDC is to be approved by the city council. Every project that an EDC proposes has to come and be approved by the city council. So they are a nonprofit entity. They are not a governmental entity. By law, the Texas Supreme Court has made that ruling. They're not a sovereign. They're not entitled to immunity, and they're totally controlled by the city council. So they really don't meet the test to be a municipal officer. That's my view of it, and I'm happy to share that memo with you if you'd like it.
It would be better if you didn't put that up by your mouth and you'd understand your issue.
Okay, so on this ordinance as it stands, the amendment portion was to add the interview process for city boards, commissions, and committees. So if we do vote for this ordinance, we just will take the language out of where it says P&Z. Is that correct?
So the way I'm reading it, can you hear me? Okay, so the way I'm reading it from what's in my packet, under section 1.04.001F, says provisions applicable to all city boards, commissions, and committees other than municipal officers. So the way it's written, I think is broad enough to encompass that, yes.
That would leave commissions, meaning P and Z, would be subject to this interview process, would it not? No?
No, because they are a municipal office. So this provision would not apply to a municipal officer, which P&Z would be. P&Z would be subject to your mayor's appointment power, but subject to confirmation by the rest of the council. Yes, as it's written, it's fine the way in my opinion.
Hello? So I make the motion to approve the ordinance amending Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.04, Boards, Commissions, and Committees, Section 1.04.001, provisions applicable to all city boards, commissions, and committees of the Code of Ordinances by adding Section 1.04.001F, interview process for city boards, commissions, and committee appointments, to provide for an interview and notice process for boards, commissions, and committees appointments.
Okay, Larry, second. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous, and that motion carries. We are on item number 31, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on approving the ordinance, Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.05, and specifically 1.05006, City Council Agenda Procedures. I believe that this one was tabled last time. I did include an email. There was discussion about the fact that I had offered this option for each council member to add something onto the agenda. They already have an ordinance that was adopted on April 16, 2013 to do that in a meeting. And I did extend an offer at any time any one of them could request that through email, and I would consider it. I do not plan to participate in an agenda preparation meeting with council because it is my agenda. I'll happily consider putting something on. If they go around me, I'll simply take it off.
Andy, I have a question for you. So if this were passed, it would have to be abided by, correct?
If passed, it becomes local law. That answers the question.
Mark, come up to the podium and you can speak to this agenda item.
My name is Mark Merrill, 71 Ballard Court. My question is, under the local government code, in a home or a general law city, which Gunter is, the agenda is spelled out. It is the mayor's agenda, plain and simple. It doesn't say that the council can pass an ordinance to change that power. So you're telling me that local ordinance can override the state constitution?
So let me speak to that. The state constitution does not address this issue. Local government code does not address this issue. What does address this issue is the Open Meetings Act. And it says, it sets how agendas are posted, what they have to, how detailed they have to be. What you're really referring to is a provision in the local government code that makes the mayor of a general law A municipality, like Gunter is, the CEO. So day to day, mayor is the CEO of a general law municipality. I interpret that to mean the mayor is in charge of the agenda. But if the council votes by ordinance to put something in place, it's the law and it has to be followed. So I would say that the more specific local law would govern the more general CEO provision of the local government code. So that's how I would do that.
So I want to make sure I'm fully clear on this. You're saying that one of the only powers that the mayor has, other than breaking a tie in this meeting, if it were 2-2, the only other power she has is to set the agenda.
No.
And run the meeting. Yes, it is. That's the power she has in this forum. In this forum, in this meeting, the power she has is to set the agenda and administer the meeting. Call it to order, end it. Those are her powers. And to break a tie.
And the quorum.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's generally right.
Okay. So my question again is, why are you saying that the council can take the power that was given to her by the state and take it away and take it for themselves?
Yeah, and again, I think my answer is going to be that a specific ordinance that deals with agenda setting, which is allowed by the Open Meetings Act, would predominate over a general local government code provision that makes the mayor the CEO in general of the city. So specific would overrule the general and predominate.
What does the mayor do? So what does the mayor do? They're figureheads.
You're
saying they're, well, no, that's what I'm saying, is that they have this power, and now you're saying that the council can take that power away in any city in the state. It's a general law, high-paid municipality, and any time they want, if they don't agree with the mayor.
Yes.
I disagree with you, sir.
It's okay.
And this is part of the reason I'm bringing this up. I've already talked to a couple of other lawyers, including the city attorney that I had when I was mayor, who told me point blank, that's not the law. Okay? I think that part of the problem and part of the distrust that people have towards this council and previous councils is that you have repeatedly tried to handcuff the mayor, take their power away. Y'all tried to take the power away from me when I was mayor. Tried to keep me from being able to go to City Hall. You took the keys away from Don Anderson. You know? And the fact of the matter is that y'all are power hungry and you think you know better than the people's elected official. Okay? And I'm telling you right now, y'all go ahead and try to pass it. There's a reporter here. And I'm telling you, it's going to go further than having your attorney side with this. Okay? I don't live in the city limits, but that does not mean that I cannot make complaints to the AG, TML. I can file total violations on the line. And I'm telling you right now, this is not cool. This is not what the people of this town want. They do not want a council that runs everything behind closed doors, takes the power away from the mayor, and thinks that they know more than everybody else in town. It's just ridiculous. If you actually think that you can read part of the code and not finish the whole section and read all of it and understand how it works and pick this part and that part like you've done in the past, that's fine. There will be a reckoning. I support you, Mayor. This whole idea that you can take the powers away through a procedure every time there's an election is ridiculous.
Well, could you please show me on this where we're taking any power away? The only thing that I'm reading here is that we're asking.
That's not, I don't need what you're reading. I need you to read the Texas Local Government Code. It says the mayor shall set the agenda for the meeting.
Well, this doesn't say anything about her not setting the agenda.
If you're going to set the agenda and add agenda items to the agenda that she doesn't want on there, then you're setting the agenda.
Well, then you need to read what's on here,
I did read
because
it.
I don't see what you're talking about. You point it out to me, please.
Do you have your actual ordinance that you want to pass? Because it's not in the agenda. It says to discuss. To discuss and possibly take action on a code of ordinances.
I have 1.05.006 City Council Agenda Procedures. Is that what you're looking at?
No, I'm looking at the agenda that's published for the meeting that's over there that I just picked up. I don't have a copy of that here.
You haven't shared that with us.
You haven't shared it with us. It's online.
Yeah.
Do I have a computer here? Is it up on the screen?
Oh, you mean the ordinance? It's in the packet.
Yes, that we don't have.
It's online.
It's online.
You didn't, but it's
So-
not printed in here, and I have no access to it when I'm up here speaking. It's not on the screen, but you expect me to be able to read it to know if I'm part. What I'm telling you is, you can set an agenda, and it's still not allowing the mayor to set the agenda. Okay? I agree with the mayor. I agree that if you have something you want to put on, send an email. There's already provisions in the government code to allow council members to add agenda items.
For example, the adding the agenda item at the end of each city council member, that's an ordinance that was passed. That's
I'm
not
aware
a,
of that. It was passed when I was mayor, ma'am.
Okay, all we're saying is that we're just saying instead of having to do it on the day of the city council meeting, it gives us more time during the month if something arises that we want to add. That's all we're saying.
And she can still deny it.
Can she?
No.
It doesn't say that.
No, she can't deny
And she
it.
can't deny it.
She can't
Okay, so
deny it.
here again is another issue that I have with this. That sometime during the month, you decide you want to have something put on the agenda. Okay? How are you avoiding forming a walking quorum to get the item put on?
We'll just take one person.
Okay, so now you've totally stripped the mayor's powers and taken it upon one cap.
It takes one person to do it at a city council meeting.
But it's in an open forum.
It doesn't matter whether it's in an open forum. If I'm the only one saying, and I'm calling and saying, hey, I would like to have city secretary, please add this to the agenda items. And then at the meeting where the city manager, the mayor, a city council member, and the lawyer are involved, and they add that to the agenda.
So you're talking about adding it to a future meeting past the one where you want it on. So I really don't understand what you're trying to do when you say it's in the future when they're here. If you're adding it to the agenda that is published for a public meeting, an agenda preparation meeting? Is that what y'all want to add? Or is it agenda item submittal?
Both.
Both.
And that's not a TOMA violation.
It's a control. No, it's a control. It's a control and oversight over the mayor. In a private forum that is not public and open to the public to limit her powers.
This is what every city USA does.
No, ma'am, it's
Yes,
not.
absolutely.
First,
You can look at the other cities and they allow.
Who has the floor here? ma'am?
Main one.
Okay, so I'm going to address your comment. Number one, we're not in every other state in America. We're in Texas. Okay? Number two, I don't care what the other states in this country do in their local municipalities. But I will tell you for a fact, other municipalities all over the state do not strip the power of the mayor away. You go and find me 2 other cities in this county that have done this and taken the powers away from the mayor by ordinance. You go find them and come back next meeting and show them to me, and I will not stand in your way. But I don't think you'll be able to do it, not even in the county, much less the rest of the state. I'm sorry? Name one. I'd like to see the ordinances. Why haven't you presented them to everybody here? Allen, Frisco,
Those are
and
charters.
none
Those
of
are
them
charters.
are general law type A municipalities. They are all home rule cities.
but until
no buts about it. They're two different forms of government.
until this city is large enough to have a charter, it passes ordinances.
I understand that, and you're passing an ordinance that's stripping the power away from the mayor, that's held there by the state, right here, the Texas Local Municipal Code. You know?
I got a question here. A council member attending y'all's agenda preparation meeting, how is that stripping you of your agenda power?
It's not. It's just a control issue. You want to be a part of my meetings. You want to be on the phone call when I talk to the lawyers. You want to be on Zoom calls with them. You want to be privy to.
I thought you didn't have any powers.
No, you're trying to strip them away. You're trying to control.
I'm not trying to strip any of it away. I just want to be informed and be able to know what's going on.
You're a legislative body, Cheryl. Legislative. Each of you here, we're all city council. I'm the mayor. You're the alderman. Okay? So you guys have no function, no privileges, no authority, no power, nothing until you meet in a quorum at a properly noticed open meeting. When you're not here, you have no business jumping into the executive branch. That is for me and Jeff. Period. But you're supposed to be out in the community talking to people, finding out what they need. Then what you need to do is prepare a solution, and maybe then you send me an email and say, hey, I'd like to talk about this. Or you present it by ordinance at your meeting. There's two ways. If it's a legitimate, I said I was going to consider it. If you're trying to do something for the people, I'm going to put that on the agenda. I'm going to do that. But see, y'all don't want to ask me, you want to tell me. And that is crystal clear. And if you want to go down that road, I'll tell you this. I'm the presiding officer by statute. Presiding officer by statute. Texas gave that to me, and you can't take it away. Period. Now, I know we have the ability to set policy, but we are general rule, and that means that we don't have the authority to set policies and write law that Texas has not expressly given us. When we get ready to develop a charter, it's a 12-month process where the people, all of you are involved. It is not me, the queen, making law, okay? It means all of you, all of us together get to decide how we want to run Gunter. We will develop a charter together. And then the state of Texas says, hey, go do whatever you want, but within boundaries, you can't violate the Constitution, the Texas Constitution, or certain things, right? Then you have freedom to do that. When your general law, unless Texas says you can go do it, you cannot. Now, if Texas has said they can set this policy, Andy, I'd love for you to show me where that is, quote, expressly written in the law.
So would I.
And then give me a little time to find that in the Open Meetings Act. I think it's in the Open Meetings Act. So I'd have to have some time to look at that. I have to answer that way. I don't have that readily off the top of my head.
So, again, just to reiterate my point, you were referring to a home rule city and their policies. Again, we're not a home rule city, and you're trying to run this like a home rule city that already has these ordinances in place and a charter in place. And in doing so, you're showing exactly what your agenda is. Okay? So I'm telling you for a fact, you're incorrect. The mayor is correct. The statute, the state constitution gives her the power to set the agenda and run the meeting. If you want something on it, get two of you, push it through, like they tried to do with me, and I'll tell you what, I'll just skip over it. I would recommend she skip over it, table it, not address it, move on to the next thing. You can put in the ordinance, but the ordinance is not enforceable because it's overriding the state constitution. So go ahead, and every time it comes up, I'll come up here, and at some point I'm just going to say, that's fine, I'm going to file suit to have it taken off. Because I'm not going to play your game your way. Not anymore.
May I speak?
You put this on the agenda so that you can get things put on the agenda. That's what you're doing the ordinance for. The part I take exception with is the fact that you think you've got to have a preparation meeting. Once you got an item that goes on the agenda, you should see it when it gets here, when in your packages that go in there. What are you going to prepare for? What is there to prepare for if you've already got your items on the agenda? So the
Don, you need to ask them because they have lots of preparation meetings. I don't attend those.
Or the executive branch.
That's the point.
So it don't need a council member on this thing.
No, that's the
Is what I'm saying. Yeah, they're going to have a preparation meeting because that's what they're doing once you've got items that got to go on the agenda. To make certain it flows and we got the information that's supposed to be presented and that you've got a packet that reflects all that. We don't need you in there to do that part of it. It's a control thing. No matter how you want to put it, it's strictly control. You don't trust city manager, you don't trust the mayor, you don't trust the secretary to do something, and you want to make certain that your agendas and your agendas only are what's being done.
So in the Texas Attorney General's Open Meetings Handbook 2022, the last one that they've published, on page 3, under preparing the agenda, there's a statement in here that says some governmental entities are subject to statutes that expressly address agenda preparation. Then it gives an example of the Transportation Commission. Other entities may adopt their own procedures for preparing the agenda of a meeting. That's what I'm going on, but that probably would need more specificity. But that's what the AG's handbook says.
You said that said that certain entities, whereas others are controlled by statute. Do they tell we're a home rule city instead of a general law city? My understanding is we're controlled by statute. Okay, so you just affirmed my position that it's per, yes you did, by statute. The statute says the mayor shall set the agenda. The mayor shall set the agenda. It's what the local government code statute says, sir.
All right, so I would ask you to tell me the provision because the local government code does not say that.
Composition of a governing body, government body election, initial election for office. We'll get to it. Mayor as presiding officer.
Right, that's right.
The mayor shall preside at all meetings of the governing body of the municipality and, except in elections, may vote only if there's a tie. B, at each governing body's first meeting, or as soon as practical, the governing body shall elect one alderman to serve as the president pro tempore in the term of a year. If the mayor fails or is unable or refuses to act, the mayor pro tem shall perform the mayor's duties. If the mayor's pro tem are both absent, any alderman may be appointed to preside at the meeting. Meetings. The mayor shall call special meetings on their own motion.
I don't believe the word agenda is in Texas local government code, but microphone.
So the word agenda doesn't show up anywhere in Texas local government code, but the fact that 22.037 says that the mayor serves as the presiding officer at all city council meetings, that allows me to run the meetings, okay? And because we're general rule, until Andy can show me where the state expressly said that they can limit that power of presiding over the meetings, I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. That's my power, it's my meeting, it's my agenda, and I'm not going to sit in the meeting with the legislative branch to hash out my agenda.
Okay. Well, if you go into section 22.042, the powers and duties of the mayor, I'm just going to read C. The mayor shall give the governing body, that's y'all, any information and shall recommend to the governing body any measure that relates to improving the finances, police, health, security, cleanliness, comfort, ornament, or good government of the municipality. It doesn't say that the aldermen are going to go to the mayor and tell them what's good governance. It's the other way around. Okay? Again, you don't have the Speaker of the House going and sitting with the President when he's talking to, another foreign dignitary. That's not the way it works. They have their own separate House, the Senate. They do their own jobs, and then the President signs the bill or vetoes the bill. Right? But y'all want to do proposing the bill, ratifying the bill, signing the bill, and enforcing the bill.
But that's what the senator does. He proposes the bill, they sign the bill.
No, ma'am. The governor signs the bill or he rejects it, which is the mayor in this
They
position.
have to vote on the bill, and then it goes to the governor or the president.
Right. For a signature. For a signature. But again, the mayor is the one running the meeting. The mayor is the one setting the agenda. Okay? Good governance doesn't come from the bottom up. It goes from the top down. And that's part of the reason our country doesn't work at the national level. Because you've got somebody in office in high positions that are self-serving and aren't looking out for the will of the people.
It's the only checks and balance I have.
It is
Casey,
the only checks you have.
did you want to speak on this one? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we are wanting Prop A to go through. This right here. This is why. Irving, this is an idea for your second story. Find out why Gunter can't seem to keep their mayor, and they've had 3 mayors where they want to take their keys. And Karen, I just want to say, I've actually never met you in person, but thank you. We elected you. And the only thing you did wrong is you got elected and you pissed them off. They didn't want you to get elected, and you are taking the absolute, it's crazy how much stuff they're doing. This is why we want Prop A to go through. This right here. Because nobody knows what they're supposed to do. Irving, please find out why we take away the keys to 3 mayors. And why our city council doesn't ever seem to want to get along with any mayor that we have, even the brand new mayors. You just got here. They hated you on day 1 for no apparent reason. No apparent reason. Yep. You got elected. And I'm so sorry we elected you because they have been through hell. They dug up more shit on and thinking that's going to stop us from not liking you. But we elected you because we needed change. Now, at the time, we didn't know how much change we needed because all that didn't come to light till after the election. And I'm so very sorry you are having to go through all of this. I don't know you, but you're doing a great job. And I beg you to stay and keep fighting for us because these people, they're not going to get reelected. I promise you. And Prop A will go through. Prop A will go through for this very reason. I want to thank y'all for doing this tonight because we're doing it on live and they get to see why everyone's so confused around here. Y'all don't know what you're doing. Period. You don't. Thank you, Karen. I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
I'll just say this too. This right here, powers and duties of the mayor. That's all I got. This is it.
And it's a statute.
And being a presiding officer over this meeting, I will control my agenda. And in fact, I'm the only one who enforces ordinances. That's what it says right here in chapter 22.042. The mayor shall at all times actively ensure that the laws and ordinances of the municipality are properly carried out. I'm the one who enforces it. I will not enforce a lawless order. They will not take my power. This agenda is mine. It doesn't matter what they pass. I'm going to keep my power.
I would like to make a motion to approve ordinance chapter 1, general provisions, article 1.05, meeting policy, section 1.05.006, city council agenda procedures of the code of ordinances to provide a written policy governing agenda preparation.
May I say something?
Absolutely.
Lawsuit incoming.
I may be doing the same. I won't give up my power.
We're fed up.
I am too. Okay, I have a motion to approve. Okay, Patsy second. All in favor? All right, that's unanimous. We just passed a lawless order.
Lawsuit.
Nice. Okay, y'all saw the email in there, right? There's the proof. I offered. We ran out of tabs, Deidre. Yeah. Okay, so agenda item number 32, discuss, consider, and possibly take action on the hiring process for appointed positions. We don't have an ordinance on this, but would it be okay if Deidre kind of explains what we've been doing, or do you guys have a process you want to propose? Everything that, well, right now, it's for the city manager, I guess, only, because then he would hire everybody underneath. If the form of government changes, then it would be for all positions, correct, Andy? If we were mayor council, the hiring process for the department heads?
Well, this agenda item is for any appointed position. That's anybody that's appointed, not just the city manager. It would be city engineer, city attorney, there's a treasurer, marshal, any of the municipal officers that are appointed is what that applies to. I mean, maybe it's more specific in this time for the city manager position because y'all talked about that, but it's broader than that.
So let me ask you this. If it's a municipal officer, would the appointment power not be mine and then they ratify? Okay, so, but then obviously I'm not going to do that with the city manager because they would, I mean, deservingly, they should be a part of the process. So I'm not trying to limit that. Okay, let's let Deidre explain what we do right now, and then they can decide if they want to do something different.
Okay, so the way it works as of now, y'all came to me and said that we're going to do the interview process for the city manager or publicize it. So I went and put it on the website, I put it on Facebook, I put it on TML, and it will remain there for 30 days. So during the 30 days, which will be up on November the 2nd, I believe is what I wrote here. Yeah, November the 2nd, they're emailing me all the applications. I take a copy of them, I put them in another folder on my desktop, and then I forward them all to you and the mayor. And then once that we have received them all, then I contact y'all, and then you decide on, this is the way we've done it past, is you choose your top 4. And then the top 4 is who we come back and do the interview process. Council did allow me as the city secretary to participate in the interview process. Since I do work hand in hand with the city manager, I was grateful for that. And then, of course, the ones that you do not interview, then I had direct email to them, no one else. And then I set up the interview process with the ones that you're going to interview.
So the interviews in the past for city manager have been done in executive session. Okay, and so we're just asking to do the same thing again? I'm confused.
I think if we're all in agreement with this process, I'm totally fine with it. If you guys are too, I don't think that we need an ordinance. Let's just go with this, okay? Okay, so, well, that's what I was just telling Andy. If we need something for the future, we can talk about that later. But right now, given the fact that we got the election coming up, let's address that afterward if we need to. I would say let's take no action on this, and we'll revisit it if it's an issue. Right. Okay, so number agenda item. Sorry. Yeah. Agenda item number 34, city manager's report. Oh, I did. No action on 33. Yeah, I'm sorry. So we can do that. I'm happy to do that, adding our ordinance to add an agenda item back at the end. The only reason I did that is because I thought it would help you guys not forget something that might have been said in citizen comments. If you want it at the very end, I'm okay with that too. Okay. I'm fine.
I would like to, I guess this would maybe fall under Adams, or who's looking at that name, or maybe Noah. I think we need to look at an agenda item to where we have some intersections where we have shrubbery that is in too close to an intersection. I'm not concerned about shrubbery on a long stretch of road, but we have intersections where it's difficult to be able to see. So if we can look and see if we already have an ordinance for that, if we don't have an ordinance for that. So I would like to make a motion to discuss and possibly take action on an ordinance regarding safety for view for shrubbery and trees close to an intersection.
Okay, so to put that on, Larry second that, all in favor? Okay, to place that item on the next agenda. While we're on this, did anybody else have an agenda item to put on the next? Okay, so now we're at the city manager's report, staff update, interlocal agreement update, and Preston Glen Road update. With Jeff Gibson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have several updates for you. Staff has been diligently working on a number of different projects. So we're going to start with the Four Cedars Apartments. We just completed the concrete box culverts. We're reviewing plans right now for the new retaining wall, all the erosion control has been put in place, and we're reviewing plans right now for the road repair on Cedar. As it applies to Gunter ISD, the building permit has been issued for the high school, the new addition to the high school, as well as the middle school. Their building permit's been issued and it's under construction. And we had a very successful construction meeting this week with all parties involved in the development of the new high school. That went very well, and their permit has been issued. You heard Adam talk to you about ILAs with Grayson County. I thought it was important. I just walked through with you a couple of the ILAs that we're participating with. This was within our purchasing policy, but I just want you to be apprised of what we're doing. So we have an ILA with Grayson County to do roads within our city, to trim, and Mr. Eubanks, this may actually fall into what you were just talking about, to trim trees and other various roadway projects that would prevent the ability to see or block view. So I think we could probably just work that in, quite frankly. I'll get with Adam and we'll see what we need to do to take care of that. And then Adam also had mentioned the challenges that we have on Blaine Road. We have entered an ILA with the county to replace this damaged culvert. This is a situation that we're grateful to have the county. We're grateful to be collaborative partners with the county because I know our law enforcement officers have been working over there. We've had signs stolen. We've had to collaborate to get rocks over there to slow it down, slow down traffic. They're on that road, so that's great that we are getting that taken care of. Couple updates on the woods, the potholes. We should finish up the remaining potholes right around October 30th. We're looking at the driveway transitions right now, so I'm going to walk you through what that process looked like and who was involved. So we went through an engineering review, went for legal review, went for advertising, and then, of course, the awarded bid by council. Staff is working with Data Transfer Solutions, which is the company that we have chosen to perform our master plan street analysis project. So this is going to give us strategy on how we're identifying roadways within the city that need attention. And then Preston Glen. So we had some challenges with Preston Glen, got a little delayed, but there is validated reasons as to why that delay took place. And that is because the contractor proposed an alternative design and material for the roadway. We didn't learn this until after Adam had held his public meeting with the residents for this roadway. So we went back and reached out to those residents again to notify them of the change that was going to take place on getting this roadway repaired. Adam did receive 100% response, and the staff did subsequently direct the engineer to issue the addendum. So the original design was to install a concrete rib of different lengths to tie into the existing driveways to the new road. Due to the price of concrete, the contractor proposed abandoning the concrete ribbon, and the savings, he would upgrade the entire road to the Type C asphalt and connect the driveways with that as well. The residents, staff, and the engineer felt like this was a much better approach to this roadway repair, and there was actually a cost savings associated with it of $4,700. So this project will actually begin next Monday, October 23rd. So several updates, several things going on. I will just close by saying, cannot be more proud of staff. They're amazing individuals. They work incredibly hard, incredibly diligently, and everybody wears so many different hats. You know, this is just a small token of some great accomplishments with positive results. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, and I know it's very late, guys, it's 10:56. The last item on the agenda is the mayor's report. I'm going to go really quickly through this. I talked a little bit earlier about TML. I went to TML conference on October, I guess, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, I think, or 4th, 5th, and 6th. A lot of good information, a lot to be able to implement that's going to help you guys be more involved as well. And we'll go into a lot of details tonight because it's late. Development, I've met with about 6 different developers the last couple of weeks, and people are excited. They are excited to start working with us again. That's a good thing. The historic water tower, there is a new website. I think Deidre's going to talk about this a little bit more next time. Yes, so she's going to do a presentation on this. We've got a website up that'll allow residents to come in and donate. And there's a, it's pretty cool actually. So you'll be able to participate in that if you'd like. The election reminder, that's just basically that we're about to open, and I didn't write down the dates. I want to say it's the 23rd through open. You guys can find it at Grayson County. The locations, poll locations, and of course the date is November 7th for the main election day. You could do early voting prior. And then the Mayor's Advisory Board, I do want to mention this real quick. This is strictly advisory. It's not an official board. It's just that I want more community help with me making decisions. Not so much the decision process, but telling me what you guys want when I am out there, responding to developers or responding to businesses who want to come here. I would like to have the community's input. I'll probably have about 9 people from the city, and I'm going to pull 3 from the county. So if you're interested in that, I have a few in mind already. You're welcome to email me and ask me more about that. The governing body accountability to the citizens. I was going to go into a little bit more detail with this tonight, but I'm not going to because of the time. The information that has been posted about me online. Look, I'm not ashamed of anything in my past. It's no secret I had a bankruptcy 25 years ago. I'm not going to share all the details. If you like to sit down with me, I will tell you that story. But I'm in good company because President Trump had a view. And Dave Ramsey makes a living teaching people how not to do it again. And I did actually take his Total Money Makeover course. There were some other things that have been taken completely out of context. If the person had actually did a little more investigating, then you'd find out that those were actually big wins for me because I came out ahead. If anybody wants to sit down and have coffee with me or they want me to explain, I'll happily. I have binders about this size on each of those things, and I'll just show you. I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide. I'm not ashamed. I wouldn't change a thing because it made me who I am today, and it's why I fight like hell for you. So the last thing is my experience with the Mud District. I'm going to load a Dropbox of information that has been in question also. And the one person in the last, since I left 2 years ago that made that request, the secretary of the Mud 504 actually put all of that into a Dropbox, and you'll get to see what that person received. It's all in there. I said I worked in the Mud District for 2.5 years before I became a director, and that's the absolute truth. You'll get to see all of that. I think that is it. Does anybody have a question for me on this agenda item?
With the TMO update, it's actually for Andy. Do we have a date that the workshop might be where we are going to learn all of the...
Okay, so Jeff and I'll set that. Yeah, let's do that. Questions on this agenda item? Come on up to the podium, Don.
You're talking about the fact that nobody's talked to you, just bashing you. without bothering to get all the facts and stuff. I am experiencing the same thing. People are doing the bashing, don't even live in the city limits. But anybody that wants to know exactly what happened with me, I have been willing to sit down and talk to him. I offered that to Donahoe, and he refuses to talk to me. He just wants to bash. So, but yeah, I'm willing to, and I can show the proof.
Thank you. Okay, if that is it, then we will adjourn at 11:02.